back to your favorite podcast ever as we come to you live to talk about all things FDL related. Now, granted, I'm not as pretty as my predecessor, Rhino Boy 11. Big shout out to him, but we're just going to have to make do. The regular season for FDL is officially over, but that doesn't mean that we don't have a lot to talk about. With playoffs right around the corner, especially, there is still plenty of FDL action to see. But, of course, I cannot do this show alone, so please welcome my guest this week. Up first, he is a part of the Hydra's expert team and is always looking to give his fabulous opinion. Please help me welcome Local. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, my friend. How are you?
I am absolutely excited to see what we can get into. But not only do we have Local, we have the man, the myth, the legend. He is here for your listening pleasure. It is K-Sen. Welcome back to the show. Both of you being on here twice. K-Sen, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
So I kind of want to dive into you guys for a second because I know you guys have been on the show before. Local, this is your second season with FDL. You started with the Rams last season, and now you're a captain of the expert Hydras. Kind of talk to me a little bit comparing the last two seasons. Have you been enjoying your time here in FDL?
I've been loving my team here. It's been a blast, honestly. Last season coming in for the Rams as a replacement for Light in the playoffs, it was fun. I had to babysit Michael a bit, but that's just Michael. And then coming here with Yeet, former GM of the Rams, of course, so he decided to bring me over, give me the captain role. I brought Kaysen. Kaysen decided to come rip it up in the league with me, and we're here to take the lead by storm.
Well, and definitely take the lead by storm. You have, and since you guys have made the playoffs for season 4. But I kind of want to shift this over to Kaysen a little bit. This is your first season as a starter in FDL. And with you being a member of the Expert League Hydras as well, what's it been like being Local's teammate? I mean, I have to ask that kind of question. And have you been enjoying your first season of playing FDL?
Yeah, I've loved it here at FDL. FDL's been great so far. It's nice, easy scheduling. I like the days we can pick, but having Local as my teammate is kind of just the normal at this point. I play with him so often. We play Rocket League all the time. So at this point, it's like putting on my shoes in the morning. It's an everyday thing.
It's kind of second nature for you now.
Yes,
which is perfect. I mean, hey, it happens. You got to be able to find that person that you absolutely have a blast with. But this is for both of you. With your guys' team going into the playoffs, is there a specific team that you are either looking forward to facing in the playoffs or that you're hoping not to face?
Me personally, I fear no one. I feel like we can, not to be cocky, but outpower most teams in experts playoffs. I feel like we could possibly go all the way, or more than likely go all the way and win it.
K-Sen?
I mean, of course, I'm gonna say that we're the best. You always want to say you're the best. You always want to come in with as much confidence as you can.
Absolutely.
But if there's any team that I am, like looking to go against that I do think would be a fun game, it'll probably be, probably Coyotes. I kind of want to play the Coyotes. I think the Coyotes. I believe who was it that took our first game of the season? Local.
Our first game of the season, that was the Griffins, where I decided to throw the game.
Griffins. Those guys will probably be fun to play against again. I want my revenge just in case we play them. But you want to say you want to go all the way? I think we'll go all the way. So yeah.
Well, you guys are definitely going to have a run for your money because there are a lot of really good teams in Expert, especially this season. It can go any way. But either way, let's kind of get into the Week 10 action. We're going to go through these games relatively quick. I know a lot of the stuff with you guys being an expert, some of the lower leagues may not get as much attention from you guys. But let's start out with Origin. We had the Monkeys that were 6-4. They took on the Huskies of 3-6. The Huskies ended up winning that game, 3-1. The Colts taking out the Coyotes. 3-0 with a sweep. The Dragons 7-3 taking out the Griffins, who were 5-5. They actually ended up sweeping that game, and the Seagulls just yesterday took a 3-1 loss to the Unicorns. Any of those names kind of ring a bell or anything? Any teams you want to talk about?
I do. I want to talk about the Huskies game. The 3-6 Huskies taking down the 6-4 Monkeys with a 3-1 score. Now, I don't know many players down here in Origin, but you always love to see the upsets. That's what makes Origin the funnest thing to watch in the planet because you never know who's going to win these games. It's always a battle in every single one. Anyone could come out on top, but to see the underdog win is always the best story.
Definitely one of those things that you do like to see is that underdog undertaking. A team that has a better record and it has a lot more playtime together. Case, anything from you, local?
Um, Once again, the Dragons proving their dominance in the Origin League. Again, that 3-0 sweep against the 5-5, or then they would have been the 5-4 Griffins. It shows how the firepower that roster of the Dragons have currently, that they can probably take into the storm of the playoffs and possibly take it all.
Yeah, the Griffins had a good start, but they actually, and this is something that I kind of want to put into your minds for later. The Griffins started out the season 4-1, and then they've just gone on a little bit of a losing streak. However, because the Unicorns won yesterday, the Unicorns have actually knocked the Griffins out of the playoffs completely. So
Yikes.
definitely going to be something to watch and something that we'll talk about a little bit later. But for now, if you guys have nothing else, if you're ready to move into Adept, I certainly am because this is my league personally. So we're gonna go through Terra first, and then we're gonna talk about the flight conference. In Terra, we had the 8-2. Well, technically, it was the 7-2 Huskies taking on the Vipers 6-4, Fluffy Knight and Swanson, taking the win in 5 games over Deathman and our very own Rico. The Colts 4-6. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. The Gators, Crusher and Original Thor, coming in with a record of 6-4, taken out by the Coyotes, playing spoiler a little bit. Unsung and Burnwan San taking that one in a sweep. And the Monkeys 5-5, they actually ended up winning over forfeit over the Rams, who are the only team to go 0-10.
You hate to see it.
Do you guys want to talk about any of these players? Maybe a couple names you might recognize, anything like that?
I want to say this. So the Coyotes and the Monkeys are both 5-5 after their wins, the most recent wins. So, I mean, for them, it's going to be a fight to climb to the top, right? Because Huskies beating Vipers, you see that, higher rated team over the higher rated team. But the underdogs won in game 2, and then Monkeys took the third game. But I kind of want to see Coyotes versus Monkeys. I think 5-5 going up against 5-5 is like a balanced game to watch. So
that would definitely be one to watch for sure. Local, anything from you?
Nothing really. It's just same old. I'd say from these teams. It's a good win for the Coyotes over the 6-4 Gators. It's showing that they are possibly the better team. Unlucky season record though means they won't be able to make the playoffs. But if they had those better chances during the season, they probably could have took it.
Yeah, I think it was more so just a couple games here and there that they beat themselves on. But either way, we move into the flight conference. The Owls of Lewis and well, we're just going to go ahead and say it. Lewis and Shitty Driver.
I think is it not Shoddy?
It's either Shoddy or Shitty. I don't know. I haven't quite figured it out yet.
It's Shoddy Driver.
Well, either way, we're going to keep rolling with it. They came into that game 6-3. They were on a tear, and they took out the Griffins, who were 7-3 of Ant and Pancake King. That was actually a sweep, and the Penguins. Gotta love our boy Scooteroo here. The Penguins ended up taking out the Unicorns of Brewski and Daddy Grimmy 3-0, Loop City and AJ Binky picking up the win there. And the Eagles got a forfeit win over the 4-6 Seagulls. Any surprises there from you guys?
No, not out of me.
Nothing for me either. Just
okay.
Routine day in flight.
Routine day in Adept flight. It's just one of those things that is going to be one heck of a playoff bracket to take a look at later. But we move into your guys' league, the Coyotes, the combination of Comus and I'm Yeti, 8-2, taking out the Rams, who are 4-6 of Killer Bunny and Generic Bronze 3-0 sweep. The Monkeys, 7-3, Marked and Rhythm, taking out the Gators of Robot Man and Burrito, and that one also ending in a sweep. The Huskies ended up getting a win via forfeit over the Colts. And the Vipers of Tuxedo Marks and Merc for Hire dropping to the Hornets of our very own Bondo and Zinc. Bondo and Zinc with a record of 1-9, and the Vipers coming into that one with a record of 4-6. I know there was some surprises in these score lines. What sticks out most to you guys?
The 1-9 Hornets 3-2ing the 4-6 Vipers, man. That is a story. That is a story.
I remember saying to Kaysen on the game day where we played the Dragons, like I pointed out to them, the Hornets were 0-9. I'm like, can they win their final game? I'm like, please, my boy Bondo has to win one. And then the next day I see, wait a second, I'm like, what? They won?
We were so nervous. We were on the fence because we were kind of confident that they were going to go 0-10 this season. But you know, it's it's definitely a story to see them actually win the last game of the season. That's amazing.
That Hornets team, it is a fresh start for them, so hopefully next season they can have a little bit better luck. But we move into the Flight Conference, which is your guys' conference. Obviously, local and K-Sen of the Hydras being 8-2 this season took out the Dragons, 3-7 of Hawkish and Minnick. That one ended in a sweep. The Eagles, 8-2. That team of T Nori and Tits versus the Penguins, 3-7. Deej and Rage ended in a 3-2 for the Eagles. The Griffins, 6-4. NFC Atlas and Ren versus the Unicorns, 5-5 team of Cody and Desirius. That one was decided 3-1 in favor of the Griffins. And the Owls were able to pick up a win versus the Seagulls via forfeit. Besides your guys' game, which I'm going to be honest with you, there's not really any surprise because I've seen you two play together, and it is, once you guys get on the field, it is just a different beast altogether. Any other games kind of take you by surprise?
I do like to see that the Eagles are up there with us in record-wise. It means that the playoffs this season are going to be competitive. But besides that, I don't really see. I think everyone else that's won their last games of this season, I think everyone else is right on schedule. I think they're right how it goes, just normal.
You've been pretty quiet over there, my friend. I got to make sure that you're still with us.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just chilling, looking at the scores, questioning why the Eagles took a game 5 to the 3-7 Penguins. For an 8-2 team like them, they should be sweeping team like that. But that's for another day. If I start talking, I got people on my back.
Yeah, but Deej and Rage, they're not exactly bad players.
Yeah.
We know that. We know they're not bad players, so for them
They're
to
not
at least
players.
put up a
But
fight.
they ain't a Hawkish in a Minnick. Hawkish being the champion of last season expert, going 3-7. I can't believe what will be going through his mind during that time.
He got swept by us. What else is there to say?
What else to say? Could have been a different story last season.
Well, either way, I know Hawkish and Minnick will be definitely taking with this one and probably coming back next season to try to take the league by storm. But either way, a couple of these teams for me, they just had a little bit of a rough season. It was very unfortunate. The Seagulls, Penguins, and Dragons not really able to get anything really started. But out of all those teams, seeing records, like actually seeing the record in front of you, do any of those teams worry you?
No. I think they've all been here since the start of the season, and we'll see them at the end.
Exactly that. I mean, we took the Eagles with our A lineup, with our C or B lineup to a game 5. So personally, me and Kaysen, I don't have any fear of playing against them. I mean, the Coyotes, we haven't seen them play at all, but apart from them, we've got no one to fear.
Combination of Comus and Yeti, though. It is a very tough task and a very tall order at that. But we will move into Star League. We're going to start with Terra Conference. The Colts 6-4, Crispy and Feed, taking out the Rams, who were 4-6, the team of J Dubs and Wawa, and that one ended in a sweep. And then the Star Gators, who were 6-4, teaming of Gare Bear and Stoobs, taking out the Vipers, who were 4-5. That team being Chronotos and Vorkus. That one also ended in a sweep, and that one was just recently played as well. Out of those two games, I mean, is there any surprise there?
Not
Nope.
really for me.
I know Stubbs and I know Chris P. They're top-notch players. I wouldn't expect anything less out of them.
Stoobs returning on the Gators as well from last season. I believe last season he was an expert. Somebody's going to have to fact check me on that, but I just heard in my ear it was a yes. Stu's definitely making a run for himself in Star, so it'd be definitely interesting to watch. But we will move on to Flight, where both games, really unfortunate because there's not going to be much to talk about here. Both games were decided via forfeit. The Hydras beat the Dragons via forfeit. Hydras sitting at 8-2, and the Dragons sitting at 2-8. A couple of things outside of FDL kind of caused that, but we won't get into that information as much. The Owls 7-3, also winning via forfeit over the Penguins, who were just the opposite of that, 3-7. I don't know too much about what happened on that. But either way, we now move into the top tier of Rocket League. And I know you boys saw this, and you probably took a look at it and skimmed over it and said, wow, we only have 2 games to talk about out of 6. And that is because this seems to have been the season of forfeits. But let's go ahead and go through these. Huskies doing what the Eagles did last season. They are 10-0 in league in regular season play. Lottie Lettuce and Tater taking out Lazarus and Galaxy of the Hornets 2-8 in a 3-0 sweep. The Colts Soars and Moifin sitting at 8-2, taking out the Rams 2-8 with Prosperity and Mike playing for the Rams. That one went 3 games to 1. The Monkeys somehow, some way, Chris with a K got himself out of 5-5. Monkey sitting at 6-4. They won via forfeit over the Vipers, who were at 2-8. The Hydras 9-1, won via forfeit over the Owls, who were 3-7. The Dragons 6-3, won via forfeit over the Penguins, and the Unicorns, who were 2-8, finishing off the season, beat the Eagles via forfeit. That really hurts for me to say because that's my team. But either way, anything there really surprised you? Because it does not me.
It doesn't surprise me. But I will say this. The Huskies are 10-0. They are looking very strong. But I know the 2 players personally that play on the Colts, and that will be a challenge to overcome. That will be a game to watch.
The Huskies did play the Colts twice during the regular season, and they ended up beating them both times.
Was Moifin always on that?
I believe
team,
it was Soares and Melio.
Yes, I do not believe Moifin was on that team at the time, though.
No, but Soares and Melio both played in both games, I believe.
Well, I can't wait to watch Soares and Moifin play together because I know both of them personally.
That'll be a tale to tell.
Yeah, definitely.
Tale of 2 top tier teams. But we definitely can't forget about the Hydras sitting at 9-1. They've had an absolutely stellar first season. That group of Auntie and I forget who the other one is.
That was Auntie and what the hell is his name? I forget his name. I used to speak to him, but my boys up in the elite Hydras, they're doing their job. My EU boys, they're bringing it home. My boy Azza and Auntie, they're gonna get this.
All the Hydras teams seem to be doing pretty good.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeet's put a pretty good squad together this season.
Yeah, really.
Shout out to Yeet for sure, because I mean he puts you 2 boys together. And you guys have absolutely crushed it. And as has the Star Hydras and Elite Hydras. So, I mean, you guys are looking, all Hydras teams are looking really good right
Definitely.
now.
100%.
But I know we're kind of running through this really quick. The only reason for that, and I have to make this announcement now, is once this is over, make sure you you stick around for a little while. We've got something special planned for everybody. However, now it is that time. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through these. We are going to get into our predictions for round 1 of the playoffs. All this information was given to me by the absolutely fabulous Chris with a K. Big shout out and big ups to him. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you guys the teams, and as soon as I tell you the name of the team, I'm going to tell you where they are on the bracket, and then I'll give you the records, and then we'll go from there. One-word answers for the first 2, and then if you guys want to dive into expert a little bit, we can definitely do that. So, are you guys ready?
Yep.
Dragons seeded number 1 at 7-3 versus the Unicorns seeded at number 4 at 5-5. And keep in mind, this is also for Origin.
I'm gonna have to go with the Dragons.
I'm gonna be there right with him.
I gotta go with the Dragons on this one.
I'm going to say Dragons as well. That team is absolutely on fire right now. Monkeys seated at number 2, 6-4, versus the Seagulls seated at number 3.
I think I might have to go with the. I think I'm gonna go with the Monkeys on this one.
I'm going the other side. I'm gonna go with the Seagulls on this one.
Boy, you guys really put me in a tough position here. I'm actually going to go with Seagulls as well. They have really stepped it up this season. Moving on to Adept. Vipers, seated at number 3 at 6-4 versus the Griffins, seated at number 2 at 7-3.
I'm going to go with the Griffins.
Local?
I'm gonna go there with him. Go with the Griffins.
You're gonna go with the Griffins. I'm actually gonna go with the Vipers. The Griffins are on a 3-game losing streak, so
now would be the time to turn it around. You know, now would be the time to make it up.
Absolutely. Eagles seated at number 3 at 7-3 versus the Gators seated at number 2 at 6-4. Local.
I'm gonna take the Eagles in this one.
Okay, Seth.
I think I'm going to follow up on.
So we got 2 for the Eagles. Guess what? We've got 3 for the Eagles because I can't turn my back on my own team. The Huskies seated at number 1. They're 8-2. They do get a first-round bye, as do the Owls for Fight seated at number 1. They also get a first-round bye, sitting at 7-3. Moving on to Expert. Coyotes seated at number 1, 8-2, versus the Owls seated at number 4 at 5-5. Kesa.
I want the Coyotes to win.
Local.
I want the Owls to win. To be honest, I want an upset. I want an upset. I want my
You just want
rematch.
the easier bracket.
Maybe I do, bro. Maybe I do. But I want a rematch.
I want the competitive bracket. I want
a rematch against Street. I want his trash talk to shush.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Street getting called out completely. I'm going to go with the Coyotes, team of Yeti and Comus. They have just been absolutely running the floor with a lot of these teams in Terra. Should be interesting to see what they can do against Flight. Eagles seated at number 2 at 8-2 versus the Huskies, seated at number 3 at 7-3. Let's go with local.
I'd like to see the Huskies take this one. You know, see them come up against the Eagles, maybe take it. You know, might have their chance against whoever wins the other side of that bracket.
Okay, son.
I don't know. I feel like the Huskies could take this one, but I feel like if they do, I don't think they're gonna win. I don't think they're gonna win 2 in a row. But I think I am gonna go with the Huskies on this one. I think the Huskies are gonna take this one.
I'm going to be the opposite of that. I'm going to take the Eagles because, once again, I can't turn my back on my organization.
Hey, don't blame me. I don't blame you. Do you think? You got every right.
if I turn my back on my own organization, I might end up getting messages from a lot of people, and I really don't need any of that smoke right now. The Hydras seated at number 1, which is you guys.
Yeah.
And you guys are seated for number 1 in the flight conference. Just want to make that clear. You guys are also sitting at 8-2 versus the Gators, seated at number 4, who are 5-5. Let's go with KSN because I already know who both of you are going to pick.
Oh yeah, well I picked the Gators. Nah.
Boy, would that be
No.
a story to tell. We would definitely have to save this stream and definitely call you out on it.
No, we'll probably take this one. I don't want to try to be like big-headed or egotistical, but you always want to say you're going to win. You never want to say you're going to lose. But I mean, we'll probably win this one.
Local?
I mean, we're going to get outpowered by Robot Man. That's all I'm going to say. That Wally profile picture, oh, I'm already feared.
It already haunts my dreams.
Bro, we dusted in that.
I'm actually going to take the Gators in this one.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Whoa! No, we're going.
But hold on. The reason why is the exact same reason that you had, Local, which was I'd like to see an upset. Upsets really shake things up no matter what league it is.
True.
Exactly that.
You didn't go with the Owls though.
I didn't go with the Owls, but that's only because Street and I have a thing.
Okay.
Don't blame me. It is Street.
But I can't say that. Nobody heard that. We're gonna have to delete that. Last game for Expert though in the bracket is going to be the Monkeys at number 2, sitting at 7-3 versus the Griffins, who are seated at number 3. They are 6-4. Kesa.
I'm gonna go with the Monkeys on this one.
Local.
Give me my rematch versus the Griffins.
What is with you in these grudges? Why do you want rematches so much?
I want to pummel everyone.
Why do you want rematches so much?
I love the confidence for the rematch, but I'm going to go with the Monkeys.
Thank you, KJ.
Not a problem. I think the Monkeys do have a very strong team, especially in Rizm and Frank Carnival. That is a very difficult team to beat, no matter who it is. Moving on to Star. Hydras, number 1 seed at 8-2 versus the Gators, number 4 seed at 6-4 local.
I wonder who I'm going to take in this one.
No idea.
The Gators, of course. Why would I pick the Hydras? The Hydras are kind of bad. Bad org, bad everything.
You actually taking the Gators?
Nah, Hydra sweep.
K-Sen?
Okay, I'm going to be a little lenient. All right. I have to go with the Hydras, just like you do, KJ. I can't turn my back on my own org. Respect to eat. But I don't think it'll be a sweep. I see a 3-1, maybe 3-2 in their soon to end future.
Well, keep in mind all of these games are actually 7 games. So maybe not a 3-2.
That's what I meant. You know what I meant.
Yeah, I know exactly what you meant, but I want to take the Gators on this one. I think Stoops has a little bit of a lock, especially whenever it comes to playoff time. He turns into some different monster that is just very hard to stop. Colts seated at number 2 at 6-4 versus the Owls seated at number 3 at 7-3. Kesa.
I'm gonna go with the Colts on this one, actually.
Local.
I'm gonna back my old teammate Michael and say he gets there.
I'm also gonna say the Colts. Michael, very solid player. Shout out to him. And finally, Elite. We've got 4 teams here. It is split. We got 4 teams playing. That is, let me rephrase that. We have the Monkeys sitting at number 3, 6-4 versus the Dragons at number 2, also 6-4, I believe. Local.
I've heard some good things about this new Dragons roster, so I'm looking for them to take it.
Okay, said
Monkeys. I want to see Monkeys win.
I am also going to go with the Monkeys. So Chris with a K, please don't let me down.
Do you want to know why I want? That's that. There you go. That's why I want the Monkeys to win, man. I want to see they succeed.
The first round has not been very friendly to Mr. Chris with a K. I'd like to see him get past at least round one. Next game, Penguins seated at number 3 at 5-5 versus the Colts, who are 8-2, seated at number 2. Kaysen.
Well, you love upset, but down here in these top tier leagues, it's kind of hard to get one. So I'm gonna have to go with the Colts.
Cool.
I'm gonna go right there with him and go for my boy Muffin. He gonna take it.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go with the Colts as well. I actually heard an interesting factoid is that the Penguins have only played half of their season. The other half was actually via forfeit. Got their 5 wins came from forfeits. That's absolutely crazy to me, but I think the Colts definitely take this one.
Yeah, I want to see Soares and Muffin versus the Huskies. That's what I want to see. That's what
versus Lottie and Tater. Oh yes. Man,
that's what I want to see. Which it could happen. It could happen. Looking at the bracket, it could happen. We could see it. We could see it.
But do you expect them to beat our boys Oliver, Auntie, and what's his name, Azza? Do you expect them to beat them? Personally, I don't.
Listen, I love this org, and this org is great. And shout out to our elite team because these guys are great. Love all of them. But I don't know, man. I don't know. That's such a tough decision. I'm glad that's not on here. I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. But if either one wins, I won't be upset. If Hydras take it, that's great. If the Colts win, then that's also great.
It's a win-win situation for everyone.
It's a win-win situation. I don't lose here.
Well, not next week, but the week after, the Huskies will have to play. But they are seeded number 1 at 10-0. They did get a first-round bye, as did your boys, the Hydras. Mm-hmm. Also seeded number 1 at 9-1. They also received a first-round bye. Any game that you are particularly excited to see more so than another one in any of these leagues?
Yes.
What you got?
I am. I'm excited to see if Chris with a K can pull through with us. Of course, take a dub. And then moving back to our league, I do want to see who's going to win that game between the Monkeys and the Griffins.
I feel like that's going to be one for the ages.
Yeah, I feel like that'll be a game to watch.
Rudder and Frank are just absolute machines. We can't forget about Rizm, Atlas, also very good, solid players. But I would like to. The game that I'm looking forward to be honest with you, is going to be the Dragons versus the Unicorns, because the Unicorns are on a 5-game winning streak. They started their season 0-5, and they have brought themselves back to even, and were able to knock a team out of the playoffs. So the way this Unicorns team has been playing, I am super excited to see what these guys can do. But like you guys said, that the Dragons. The Dragons are a different monster. I think that between the three of us, we can all agree, yes?
Yeah.
Local?
Oh,
yeah.
I think he died.
Welcome back.
Bro, my internet keeps dying. I don't know why.
Either way, thank you, boys, for joining me in this quick adventure into the recap of Week 10. Keep in mind, playoffs are right around the corner. So thanks, of course, to my guests today, Local and Kaysen, both members of the Hydras who are in the playoffs. Good luck to both of you in your playoff games.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And a huge thanks to our streamer tonight, Robotman321, and everyone at FDL. Now, for the announcement that I kind of hinted at earlier, we will be taking a short break. But when we come back, our very own Chris with a K will be here to present FDL with the Season 4 awards. But besides that, make sure you come back next week to take a look at what happened in round 1 of the playoffs next Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Before we go,
yes,
just want to shout out a friend of mine, the real Black Goku. True legend right there, man.
True
True
legend right
legend.
there. We
True
love that
legend.
man. Respect to that man.
Respect to that man.
The real Black Goku.
I see him in chat down there. He's a real one. Real one.
That is a new name that I actually thoroughly enjoy. But either way, we will see you guys next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Make sure you stick around for the Season 4 FDL Awards. Thank you guys for coming out. And this has been KJ signing off with Local and KSEN. You guys have a wonderful night.
Good evening, FDL. It is I, Chris with a K, joined by J-Dubs, and we are here to bring you the Season 4 award show brought to you by the FDL. These are all of the awards for the most goals, most saves, most assists, league MVPs, and some other fun ones that we have at the end. J-Dubs, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing just fine. Incredibly upset that my name will not appear at all tonight, but hey, it's fine. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, mine's showing up twice, and one of them I don't want. But you know what? That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. We've got the Origin League up first. J-Dubs, take it away.
Origin League. So we're gonna start off with the league MVP, and we're gonna actually run through all of the league awards, moving on to the next league, and then we've got a fun couple universal ones that we've had for I think 2 seasons now. So we'll do that. So starting with the Origin League MVP, we're gonna start with Kamikaze on the Dragons. So good job to him. The runner-up for that one is Kimono, also on the Dragons. That's certainly an interesting one.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you
those
say
two.
so?
Those two players bounced off each other like um, two things that bounce off each other. Well, I don't know, but that was one of the top lineups that a lot of people were worried about going into the season. But I mean, the MVP speak for itself. Those two players are on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, moving on to the Origin Golden Striker, we're actually going to have Kimono actually taking the award here, not being the runner-up. Kimono of the Dragons, that is, with 53 goals on the season. That's a lot. The runner-up is J-Mans. He ended with 51, which is really close, really tight race there. That was a really good one.
Yeah, it's interesting to see as well the Monkeys, that top team from Terra coming out, the only one to make it to the playoffs. But it's also, this is the lowest scoring amount of all of the awards we have from the Origin League. That it's not too surprising, the higher skill, the more goal scoring capability you have. But Kimono, yeah, I mean, just showing why he was runner up for the league MVP. 53 goals is nothing to slouch on.
Yeah, definitely not. Moving on to a bigger point margin here, we have the Savior Award for Origin League, which we have Ullman with 52 saves coming in as the winner of that award, and then we have a tie between, guess what, Kimono and Barnsey at 44. 52 to 44 is a big gap for these saves, so good job for Ullman and the other two runner-ups.
It's a big gap, and that's three different teams right there. I mean, Griffins unfortunately didn't make it to the playoffs, but Omen was proving why that, maybe he should have been in a running for maybe a league MVP of his own. He kept the Griffins in there until the very end, but Kimono, his name's been on here 3 times, and maybe could get a fourth with this next one.
Isn't that crazy? A little bit of foreshadowing for those English folks at home. For the Wingman Award, most assists, we have a tie between Cobb K and Kimono at 24. So that's great. Runner up is J-Mans again. He's sitting at 22. So still another really tight margin. A lot of it has been really, really close.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not even just Origin. The rest of the leagues are going to be even closer. But Kimono getting 2 of his own and runner up in the other 2. He has proven why he is the man to watch out for going into the playoffs. J-Man's runner up for 2 of them. He's right there with them. Another player to be careful of. And Cobb K. Seagulls made it into the playoffs. So all of these players, except for Omen, made playoffs. The only team not here is the Unicorns, who had a great end of season run. So have a kind of award in there, like the underdog award almost, for craziest comeback of the season. So maybe we could add in that for the future. But yeah, good job to all of these Origin
Good job,
players.
Origin League.
I mean, we love Origin here. It's probably our favorite.
Origin's always one of the most, or is always the most entertaining because no one knows what's going to happen. Not even the players sometimes.
That's true. I mean, it shocks them. It shocks the own players. You just never know what's going to happen. And speaking of which, we've got a depth league next with our brand new league from 10 salary to, or nope, I'm wrong. Oh my gosh.
Get there.
11
One more time. Don't worry. Take your time.
11 salary to 12.9 salary. I did it. I got there eventually. Thank you
Proud of
for
you.
the ranks in the chat. Oh my gosh. But Adept League with the league MVP coming in at Farting RN at a
Farting right now.
5.6 farting right now at a 5.61 MVP ratio, with CJ following right behind him at 5.58. That's really close. That is
That is
0.03 away.
insanely close. That is like it is kind of insane that it is that close, because none of them are that is the closest of all the league MVP and runner ups. That is insane.
And especially since Farting didn't even make it to the playoffs, but still was the had the highest MVP ratio. I mean, it kind of shows what he did for that Seagulls team. CJ on the Griffins, they've had a great first half of the season, but they've kind of had a rougher patch towards the end. But still, CJ coming in at the runner-up. Moving on to the Golden Striker Award, it is the Huskies general manager Miller Ball at 59 goals for the season, only followed by Sticks at 49 goals. That is crazy close, especially with how many goals have been scored in the Adept League. I mean, that jump is pretty significant.
Yeah, no, that is a good 10 goals. I'm really kind of surprised, but hey, if there's anyone that deserves an award for how much work they put in, Miller has done that he's been around for a while. He's put in a lot of work, so I'm happy to see him rewarded here.
Absolutely. And moving on to our Savior Award, you've heard him once, you've heard him twice. It is. You don't have it ready again,
No,
do you?
I don't have it ready again.
I now look stupid on camera, don't I?
Yeah.
All right, it's Farting right now with 67 saves in the season, followed up by Rico, the last season's champion at 54 saves. Now another pretty big jump, but
Yeah.
just like we saw in Origin. But Farting right now, another player that didn't make playoffs, but he's still leading the stats.
That's insane. We got a 13 save difference between the winner and the runner up. I don't know. Man can't seem to do any wrong, because but in the league MVP overall, well, I guess their team is in the playoffs, so there's that. But I'm sure they were really close, so hey, it is what it is. But great job. He's won 2 of the 4 awards for league specifics, so got to be happy at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And for the Wingman Award with the most assists is going to the very own Eagles Southpaw at 25 assists. And one off of it, Miller Ball had 24 assists on the season. Talk about close, man. The stats for Adept were either pretty far apart or pretty close.
Either within 0.03 and 1 or 10 and 13. I don't get it. I don't get Adept League. It's that's probably why it's his first season. I just don't get it. But hey, we'll get there. And I talked about Miller being deserving of an award. Southpaw is even more deserving of an award, because Southpaw's been playing since season 1. That man has stayed in like the same area for the last 4 seasons, and he's finally getting it to pay off. I'm so happy to see Southpaw here.
Yeah, and he got beat by Rico in them last season. He's coming back again for another playoff run. Hopefully he can get it done. But moving on to the Expert League, the league MVP is my very own Monkey Rhythm, sitting at a 5.92, followed up by Cody of the Unicorns at a 5.82. Very close, but Cody didn't make it from the Unicorns.
Well, he didn't.
Yeah, a lot of these players that have awards didn't make it. So, I mean, what are your takes on that, J-Dubs?
Honestly, I think the fact that a lot of these very well-established players that didn't make it into the playoffs, it just proves how close it really was this season, other than Elite, because that's a whole other train wreck. But every other league, it was very, very close. And, I mean, you can't even point to many of these teams and be like, I think I know which player was the one that was letting down, or that kind of thing. Everyone is good. That was just how close it was.
Absolutely. And Golden Striker Award going to Hawkish at 63 goals, and 1 goal away again was Cody and Rhythm sitting at 62, both league MVPs, beaten out by a player who didn't make playoffs. Again, it's down to the wire, and experts even closer than Adept League is.
I don't get it. Hawkish isn't supposed to be scoring. He's supposed to be getting demoed, so I don't really know this one. So Expert League, you kind of dropped the ball there. Sorry, guys. But
Oh.
hey, good job, I suppose, Hawkish. Cody and Rhythm, hey, 62 goals. That's really good.
That's pretty good. But going on to the Savior Award with the most saves is actually a tie for the most. It's Rhythm yet again and Harmonic at 61 saves. And we got Kaysen sitting at 60. I mean, it's so close that even the number one is tied, and runner up is 1 away. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty razor thin margin here, and I mean it's really close between goals and saves for the most by an individual player. So I can't gauge whether this is like this was an over offensive league, this was more defensive. Obviously, they're both like right on the same mark within two. So good job, you balanced it out. Should have demoed Hawkish more, but again, balanced it out. Good job, Rhythm, Harmonic, Kaysen as well did a great job with only 1 goal, or 1 goal separating. Is it going to get even closer for the last one?
Not quite, but it's still there with the Wingman Award. Frank Carnival, 34 assists on the season. That Monkey's counterpart, and Merc for Hire of the Vipers at 28, who just fell short of the playoffs.
Oh, I hate to see that. But Frank Carnival, great job. That's people underestimate, how important assists are in actual Rocket League. So the fact that he had the most of an individual player, it looks like across all leagues, is pretty impressive.
Absolutely, and I mean, you thought Expert and Adept were close. J-Dubs, please take Star away as your residing league.
Star. Well, league MVP. It shouldn't be surprising. One of the best players in the league. Well, I guess statistically the best. We've got Feed from the Colts coming in with a 5.90 MVPR, and that's insane. And then, of course, following him very closely is Shade of the Hydras at 5.81. I don't get it. Both these teams are in playoffs. We're gonna see a lot of that in this the rest of the Star League section, except for one. And then it was very dominated by 3 players, and then someone randomly. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, I don't know. This league has broken me.
I mean, even looking at the Christmas Clash event that we had, we were talking about Feed and Shade so much. They were going back and forth in that best of sevens or best of 5 series. And man, I mean, either one of those made a compelling argument for league MVP. 0.09 to separate them. Very close and very well deserved from both of them.
Absolutely. Moving on to the Golden Striker. We got a little bit of a crisscross here with Shade taking Golden Striker with 57 goals, Feed right on his coattails with 54 goals. Again, within 3. It's really close. And both these teams, the Hydras, the number 1 overall, and the Colts, I believe, are the number 1 coming out of Terra, which was already close. So both of these teams, I think that's our final right there.
I would agree with that. That seems like, I mean, just based off the statistics, it should be those 2 teams. I mean, Shade and Feed, I guess we'll be looking for those 2 players specifically going into them. I'm surprised that we didn't see one of the Owls players for a Golden Striker.
Yeah.
Because Laggy Puppy, Magic, and Cruisin' all made very, those are the players that stood out to me for goals this season.
Absolutely.
But to see Shade and Feed take it, I mean, it's anyone's game at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of anyone's game, we got a little bit of a sibling rivalry over here with the savior going to Feed with 68 saves, should have gotten one more, and then his teammate Chris P following right behind with 67. I gotta tell you, as someone who got to play against them twice this season, specifically Feed and Chris P, it's not fun playing against them for that reason. They both just save the ball every time you shoot it.
I was going to say, you want to talk about a team that's a brick wall. That's 135 saves between the two of them, given caster math. That's just for them. Then you had Michael in the mix. 135 saves between two players on the same team. Good luck scoring on them. I mean, that's impossible to do when they're just constantly sitting in net. So
the balance was Michael was the balance. He doesn't play defense. He only knows how to hit the ball sometimes.
That's why they lost some series.
That's why they lost some series, I'm sure. Sorry, Michael. I'm not. That's okay. Moving on to the wingman. Hey, for once we're going to see a name that isn't Feed, Shade, or Chris P. I mean, we'll see one, but the winner for the wingman is Doomster at 28. And Chris and I were looking at this beforehand, and we just wanted to point this out. I think this is probably the first time in FDL history that it has happened and that it will ever happen again. But Doomster was 100% on goal participation throughout the season. I'm not kidding. It was what was the number, Chris?
What was the number for what?
The Doomster, his own goals and then the total goals for the Penguins.
Oh, yeah, he had 28 goals for the Penguins and 28 assists. And all 28 of those assists were all 28 goals of his teammates. I mean, incredible. It's just incredible shooting and participation from Suter. And then at second place, you got Chris P at 26. But I mean, Doomster, how do you... I don't think that's ever happened
No.
I want to say in any league ever.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And it's definitely not going to happen again. That is a very much like Suter hit like a 1 in a million. I don't know.
I'll buy a lottery ticket, man. You're going to win a jackpot.
Jeez Louise. But yeah, with that, moving on to the Elite League. Christopher, your residing league. Take it away.
All right, for the league MVP, we've got Bub of the Dragons sitting at a 6.64 and Azza at a 6.59. That is 0.05 differential. And both of them coming out of the Flight Conference. You know, we've talked about it a lot. We've had our problems there with getting series played, so it's kind of not a shock to see that their MVP ratio would be higher than the rest.
Yeah, it's not all that surprising, but within what is that, 5 of each other? That's pretty. I don't get it. I guess this is why I'm a star player. I don't get here or here, just kind of sitting right in the middle.
Yep. Moving on to our Golden Striker Award, we got Soars of the Colts sitting at 66 goals on the season, the highest of any league, and myself and Tater sitting at 60 goals on the season. I know. I was so close. Could you imagine Chris with a K getting Golden Striker? Oh my gosh, it would have been perfect.
Chris giving himself an award. Can't believe it.
Where's the Obama meme? I'm just putting the award around myself.
I hate it here.
I'll get one made for the off season. Don't worry.
I'm so happy for you.
Oh man, but moving at our Savior Award, we've got I don't want to say a record of the entire FDL, but Prosperity 2K sitting at 81 saves in a season. And second is Drew's Clues. I mean, 68.
So many.
68 was the runner-up for Elite, and that was the most of all other leagues. I mean, Feed got 68.
That was tied for every other league, every other player. Sorry, except for Prosperity.
Yeah. How do you get 81 saves? We're talking about a brick wall and Feed and Crispy. That's 80. That's almost 100 saves in 10 weeks.
That is ridiculous. That man probably got peppered so much on that. I am so sorry for Prosperity, who probably did nothing but sit on a goal line all season.
Oh man, him and the Star Colts are gonna have some exchange of defense strategies sitting on the
Good
line.
Lord.
Oh man, but moving on to the Wingman Award, it only is fitting that Milio is there to back up Soares. Milio with 32 assists to the season, and Tater again runner up at 30. I mean, that's that's kind of how it goes. The pressure for those two teams were insurmountable for the rest of the Terra teams.
Yeah, so that, I mean, that was, it's a great performance from Milio. Tater again, just barely missing out on an award, but I mean, still phenomenal performance from them this season. And yeah, I mean, good show all around from the individual leagues.
Now, I just want to note on one thing. Elite League, all Terra teams had the stats. Surprise, surprise.
Mhm.
Almost all of Star League, except for Doomster, made playoffs, but it was only 3 players, so there's your targets to look out for. Expert League, the Monkeys were in every single one, and then the other 3, Cody, Hawkish, and Merc for Hire, didn't make playoffs, so Monkeys have that one up. Kaysen for the Hydras, looking really good going in. Adept League, everywhere right now. I mean, you got Huskies, Vipers, Eagles, Griffins. They're all sitting pretty strong. And then Origin, the 2 main ones, Monkeys and Dragons. And then you got the Seagulls at the Wingman Awards. So, it's a good spread, but you see those top teams in each league coming out. And we still got 3 more Universal Awards one that someone doesn't want, and J-Dubs, take it away.
I'm here to give Chris an award for the specifically the Hawkish Award, which for those that haven't been around FDL for a little while now, the Hawkish Award is for the player who got demoed the most in this season, and that belongs to our lovely friend Chris with a K here, who took 32 demos this season. You poor man.
It was brutal.
I'm sure it was, but hey, we've got some runner-ups. It's actually a tie at 31 demos apiece, or sorry, demos taken apiece between Laggy Puppy of the Star League Owls and Hawkish, named for the award. So, I don't know. People could have demoed Hawkish just a little bit more, and then that would have made more sense, but hey, it is what it is. Again, very thin margin. People didn't like Chris, they didn't like Laggy, and they didn't like Hawkish. It's just what I'm seeing by the numbers here.
We're all in the trenches this season. I mean, it was brutal.
All in the trenches. But moving on with a little bit of a, correlation here, we have the Terminator Award, another returning award from last season, which is the opposite of the Hawkish Award, which is the most demos inflicted by one player. So at the top, we have Merc for Hire of the Expert Vipers with 48 demos. I'm sure Expert League was not having a good time whenever he was on the field. But hey, that's what it is. And following up with that, we have Gurgling with 45. And, another very, very close. And I don't know. Demos, love them, hate them, they're entertaining.
I want to know who they're demoing, because that's Gurgling's on the Coyotes. Merc was on the Vipers. How did no one in Expert Terra get that Hawkish award? How did I manage to get away with that? Even Hawkish is in flight. So what the heck happened? Was anyone alive in a Expert League game in Terra conference?
I'm sure not.
I don't know how that happens. That's incredible. And yeah, Merc almost breaking that 50. Terrifying. And neither Gurgling made wait, no, Gurgling's Adept. Yeah, Gurgling's Adept League. So wow. All of these leagues were pretty demo heavy. I mean, everyone was in the trenches.
Yeah. And we've got one more award tonight. And this is, I believe, a newer one with Monopoly Award, which is the award for which franchise had the best win percentage across every league they have. And the winner of that is going to go to the Hydras and their GM Yeats with an 83.33% win percentage overall, with a total of 25 wins in 30 games. Dang. And then coming up right in second place as the runner-up, we have the Huskies and their GM Miller Ball with a 72.50 win percentage in 29 wins, or with 29 wins in 40 games. Wow. So shout out to the Hydra's expert star and elite teams with those big wins.
And, even that third place, you always kind of see the Huskies and the Eagles performing relatively well in seasons past. Hydras, that new one, but Yeet, not you new to GMing, you miss out on 5 games across 3 leagues. Wow, you know how to build a team. Yeet, incredible work. Miller Ball almost had all of your teams make playoffs, but still, 29 wins on 40 total games. That is incredible odds, and you two, you know how to run a franchise. I guess my claim to always making playoffs kind of died this season, but you guys, tip my hat to you if I was wearing one. You guys know how to run it over there, and congratulations.
So congratulations to everyone who got awards tonight, and thank you all for helping us through this FDL Season 4. We know a little bit of a bumpy ride, but here we are at the end of the regular season, and it's just been an adventure.
It has been. We keep getting better. More faces, more friends, more just matches in general. We had 16 teams in Expert League. I'm just waiting to see how they all unfold. You heard the FDL Central talk about it, and I would recommend to go back and watch that if you are just now tuning in. But that is all we have tonight. Next week, we are bringing you with the first round of playoffs. You're not going to want to miss any of those matches. It is going to be a slugfest. So until then, I've been Chris with the K. Joined with me is J-Dubs and our lovely streamer man, Robot Man. We'll see you next time.